Hello everyone, I warmly welcome you on a very sunny and spring day with beautiful smiles like roses to our esteemed forum, Health and Forum. The mission of this forum is to keep you healthy and wealthy body all the time. And I have a great team, and our team is like octopus. We have 8 arms, and our 8 arms work very hard together. And I am very honored to introduce our team. And in our team, I am the EC. If you don't know me, my name is Dr. Neeru Bambri. I am the EC for Health and Wellness Program and also for the Finance Chair. I would really appreciate if you would really help for your donations to run for the finances of our IALI Center, which is very expensive to maintain it. Our team consists of our chair is Dr. Saxena, and our co-chair is Dr. Bhavani, Sushma Lumbaji, and Mosa Meskania, she could not make it. I would now introduce Dr. Saxena, our chair. He's a pediatrician and a great person to work with. Dr. Saxena, it's all yours. We will be sweet and short so you can hear the topic nicely.
I'm going to be very short. I'm going to introduce Dr. Bhavani. I think most of you would know her. She has been president here in the past. But besides here, she has been president, and we have been very much involved in IALI, and she is incoming chair of Rotary Club. So she has been all over the place, and she also runs the program for mental wellness, regular lectures. So that also is very good.
One thing I forgot. My apologies, our past president, Dr. Munjalji, Mr. Munjalji, I always call him doctor. No matter his wife keeps on correcting me. And we have Veena Lamba from DLG. We have our pioneer member, Neena Sabe. She has been running a lot of fair. Our Jyoti Gupta ji is here. Kiran Gupta is in our ad hoc committee. And we have a lot of doctors here. Dr. Kulananji, Dr. Renu Agarwal ji. I want everyone to give a big applause to all the audience who are here. You all are our esteemed members. Before I give it to Dr. Bhavani, can everyone stand so we can have silence for all the prayers for all the people who lost their lives? 1 minute of silence, please, and then we'll continue our program. Thank you, everyone. The mic goes to Dr. Bhavani ji. And we have a very nice team for Sushma ji. She was working behind the scenes very thoroughly. Our co-chair, she had to go for her granddaughter's graduation, so she just left. Dr. Bhavani, it's all yours.
Thank you, Neeru ji. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Health and Wellness Forum. We conduct this on the second Thursday afternoon of the month between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. So look out for all our announcements because we have some very interesting seminars planned for the whole year. For today, I have to tell you that I'm going to introduce an extremely esteemed person of our community, Dr. Purna Prasad. So I'm honored to introduce Dr. Purna Prasad, a true Renaissance man whose life embodies a symphony of science, innovation, and the arts. Dr. Prasad is a pioneer in healthcare technology and a torchbearer of a rich artistic legacy inherited from his grandfather, the renowned scholar Gopinath Dasaru. Inspired by his grandfather's mastery of music, traditional storytelling, and performing arts, Dr. Prasad co-founded Pampa USA, keeping the vibrant flame of this performing arts institution alive across continents. His professional achievements are equally impressive. As the former CTO of Northwell Health, the largest healthcare system in New York, and before that, as the Director of Clinical Technology at Stanford University Medical Center in California, Dr. Prasad led the deployment of groundbreaking healthcare strategies. Now he's ventured into the future with his own company, developing the next generation of healthcare robots and drones. Yet, Amidst his scientific pursuits, Dr. Prasad remains deeply rooted in his cultural heritage. Born into a traditional Vedic family, he embodies a strict Vedic value system, evident in his dedication to teaching Vedic scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. As a result of decades of training under the Vedic Renaissance man, Dr. Bananji Govindacharya. His musical journey included the tutelage of maestros like Sri Vayapuri Devar, Dr. M. Bala Murali Krishna, and Pandit Ravi Shankar. And on the silver screen, he honed his acting skills under the guidance of Sri G.V. Iyer for the award-winning film Madhvacharya. Today, Dr. Prasad seamlessly blends cutting-edge technology with timeless wisdom. He holds numerous patents in healthcare technology while sharing his knowledge as a professor of AI, ML, robotics at Hofstra. His ability to bridge these seemingly disparate worlds is a testament to his multifaceted persona. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Purna Prasad, a visionary, an artist, and a scholar who reminds us that innovation thrives when fueled by passion and purpose.
Wow. Very good.
As Dr. Purnamji sets up, just a couple of housekeeping details. Once Dr. Purnaji's lecture is done, then at that point we will open the food. So till then, you are our captive audience.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhavani, and to the wonderful August audience over here. It's an honor to spend some time with you talking about a phenomenon that's going to change the way we live. That's as simple as that. AI, very famously known as artificial intelligence, unfortunately had the wrong name. There is nothing artificial on this universe. What has to be created has been created, and we just are ignorant about 98% of the things, of which the intelligence inside the atomic and submolecular structure was not known to us until a big troublemaker called Albert Einstein took birth on this earth. So what happened was, the whole story started with a grain of sand. In that sand was a type of element called silicon. This silicon had a very weird property. It was neither a conductor nor an insulator. It was called the semiconductor. This whole revolution started in 1950s, early 1950s, late 1940s, in right here in the Silicon Valley in California. And fast forward 40 years, Alan Turing and others suddenly realized that this piece of silicon with its atomic structure could remember. You could store something and it could talk back to you. They called it the memory. The bottom line is every atomic structure has a memory. This recognition of the capacity for intelligence should have been called more appropriately and scientifically as augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Because if you look at the quantum mechanics, there is nothing that is artificial here. You can take that to the bank. It's just that we are ignorant of it. But the problem was we did not have the front end or the capacity to talk to these silicons. We were able to fabricate it, of course. We basically came up with putting all these transistors into a grid, called it as integrated circuits, right? Integrate all the circuits. Then we could actually make it very application specific and called it ASIC, application specific integrated circuits. And then came the real breakthrough, which was the capacity to process anything you asked it to do, only things that you asked it to do, the microprocessors. So the hardware stopped there because you could not pack anything else in that small chip. There are 1 trillion transistors right now in that small chip. Your phones, your mobile phones that you have, are about 10 times more powerful than the computer that was on board Apollo 9. You'll be amazed. Then the scientists realized, oh, you know what? No, we should know how to talk to these chips. So how do you talk? In order to talk, you need a language. Okay, here is our machine language. That's exactly what became ML, if you have heard of it, right? Machine language, which is machine learning because it could learn. Okay, it learns, and then what? Instead of giving specific instructions, let us expose an environment and see what it does. 1998, this augmented intelligence, artificial intelligence revolution started in places like Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, and just by 2021, 2022, it almost rocked the very basics of computer science, because the capacity of this software, basically, especially applying statistical mathematics, I'm not going to bore you with that, don't worry about it, was mind-boggling. Not only could it remember, but it knew exactly where each and every data point was. And the first mega experiment that actually proved that AI is about 100,000 times more capable than the most intelligent human being was when Google did their first experiment using a company called DeepMind, wherein they basically exposed 100,000 lung scans, just lung x-rays. Some with the nodules, some without nodules. It was at random. It was the best random data set that you could ever imagine. The clinicians here will appreciate that. And the same data set was scored by 100 highly reputed pulmonologists, oncopulmonologists basically. And then they had the computer score what was actually accurate and precise. Now, precision and accuracy are two very different things, right? Precision is where you're able to repeat successfully every time and reproduce that data point or the result. Accuracy is how near you've got to that data point. When they got the results, they were really flabbergasted. And I was one on the team. The oncopulmonologists had a success rate of 78%. the Google algorithm, the DeepMind algorithm that we trained using Guyton physiology, Gray's anatomy, and the latest papers from the annals of pulmonology hit a 99.9777% and said the 3 scans that we had given it had an optical aberration while taking the x-rays, so it was at fault. They didn't want to publish this. DeepMind said this is going to disrupt everything. President Bill Clinton was at the White House and he was informed about this. It took him about almost a month and a half even to come back and say, you know what, you should publish this because this is the future. What happened? What was that engine which was able to reproduce this every time? Pure and simple, it is statistical mathematics. For the clinical researchers, you use statistics. Average, your mean, your regression, your logistic regression. But the difference is humans can do only maybe a level 1, level 2, level 3. This goes into trillions of levels. So if you expose them to a data set of 100 patients with anomalies, with 100 different clinical factors, it can basically look at all 100 in all the 100 ways and give you variations and the outputs and compare it to what has been found as the latest in the annals of clinical literature. Is this algorithm aware of it? No. It has just been exposed. What it has is the capacity for deep thinking. But the funny thing is, it's not aware that it is thinking. Within 3 years, the entire AI algorithm, they call it as large language model, because you can expose as many databases, as many annals of science, it will just digest like a pillow and spit out every variation and combination. I had the great fortune of deploying the first ever mobile robots at Stanford in 1996. So the question we were answering was, there was a sudden raise in the workers' compensation of people who are pushing around patients, problems with the back, with the lumbar and everything. So since I was in charge of the research and development there, the CEO, Ken Bloom, called us and said, hey Purna, can something be done with this? Right at that time, the industrial robots were taking off. I'm talking 1997. The automation companies had started using, the automotive companies had started using robots in order to assemble cars. And one of the pioneers there by name Dr. Jeff Engelberg, who was a professor at MIT, we had presented papers on a similar panel. So I called him and said, hey, Engel, any ideas here? He said, you know what, Purna, great. I just started a company, which I think you'll be amazed to see, because we have the first basic architecture for a mobile robot. And I asked him to do what? He said, I have no idea. I said, okay, forget it. What does it do? Well, it takes instructions. Okay? So I came here to Danbury, Connecticut, 1997, and we started working. This robot was able to take instructions and move in 3 dimensions. It was able to linearly move, horizontally move, and make a curvature. Very successful. So we developed some sensors there, ultrasound sensors, so that it doesn't go and hit anybody, because the final plan was to deploy it at Stanford University Hospital with 5 floors, so it could actually fetch and deliver, right? It was able to deliver medical supplies, patient supplies, bedding, 1 o'clock at night, where nobody wanted to work. And able to push the patients because it had the capacity to push up to 100 kgs. to 20 to 30 pounds. So how to power it? Powering is a problem. You can't, plug it and have a long car going up 5. So the battery technology was still, in its infancy. The best you had was this 2.2 volts, 1 point. So what we did was to put together 4 car batteries, the lead acid batteries, the most toxic batteries together, encapsulated in a steel frame. And we were able to program the robot to fetch and deliver medical supplies from any floor to any floor just by pressing the buttons. Fast forward 2 years ago, with this advent of AI and ML, here was a great opportunity to deploy a robot that could function by itself if we expose that robot to a certain environment, not give it instructions. Giving instructions is all computer science. Go to this particular coordinates, move 5 feet, turn 70 degrees, move 3 feet. No. We wanted to expose an environment like this building and then let the robot figure out with its sensors how to build a map so it can actually travel. Number 1. Number 2, to recognize the obstacles. If it sees you, it knows that you are a human being. If it sees a chair, it knows that it is a static object. If there are objects moving, it understands, oh, you know what? I have to take the opposite action, not the linear action, but opposite action. It took about 6-7 months. We actually had about, to start with, 10 robotic engineers who were clinically certified as insane, because that's what they are. Because to get something working within a year and a half, the robot that I'm going to show you can understand any of your clinical workflows. It can do 12 lead EKGs and actually give you an analysis of it based on the most current annals of clinical literature. It can recognize arrhythmias, the Apple Watch can. It can recognize trigeminase and bigeminase and all those bad things that nobody wants to experience. But it can also provide the latest advice based on the scientific journals. All the scientific journals, the papers that have ever been published, because it has got access to it. This large language model that we have come out with, we needed a name. I said, look, what is that body of knowledge which actually has everything in it? So, go back to my Vedic roots. The English equivalent is description. Description in Sanskrita means Veda. So we named it Vedic. So it's called Vedi Robotics. Because it just ingests everything. But it is dumb as a doornail, not as intelligent as the Vedas. But at least, gave us a little bit. And many of my colleagues, who are Caucasians, they are amazed. Oh my God, this makes a lot of sense. So we have deployed this in about 10 clinics now, just on the trial basis. It's being used by a pain specialist, by cardiologists, and by internal medicine doctors. They claim that I need to be sued for what I have done to their profession, which I'm happy to get sued, because they said, you are making me work with a machine and I am becoming dependent on it. And the third thing is, I'm becoming its subordinate, which I'm not very happy about. I said, one of the intents was basically to, break your ego, because that's what Krishna told to Arjuna. They basically started laughing at me anyway. I will show you a video of it and you will see why. Large language model, wherein we expose a clinical workflow or an environment or the care path, as you say it in your language, it follows. Not only it follows, it learns on it, because every variation is a learning for it. And number three, when it actually gives you anything, it says, hey doc, this particular patient, you saw him 2.5 years ago, and then you gave him a diuretic and the guy actually, almost withered away like a prune, so be careful. Some of the insights it can give, the clinicians are telling me, are mind-boggling. Because now as humans, we hardly remember the fourth or the fifth patients we have seen. But here is your almost digital, intelligent assistant that can tell you, you've seen such a person, and this is the latest, do not prescribe these two medicines at the same time for a very niche population. In many of the cases, if you look at the literature, the only time you come to know about is when the patient ends up in the ER. So far, it's been about 8 months. What we are finding is mind-boggling. And now we are in the process of scaling it up very carefully. We are very slow and methodical because we ourselves don't know what the future is, number one. Number two, we don't have a guidebook or a playbook to go by. We practically are writing the playbook for the deployment of robotics in primary care as an assistant to the clinician. The applications that it has, it's all across the board. The speed with which AI is coming and changing the way we work and the type of jobs the speed is just in a lightning speed. So my request is, wake up or you're going to be hit with a ton of bricks. The usual jobs, front end secretaries or people who do the manual chores, that's gone.
Yep.
In majority of the cases, when you call for service, it is not a human answering you anymore. Second thing is, you may be surprised, almost for the past 10 years, when you're flown to India, after you take off and the aircraft stabilizes, there is nobody at the wheel. The computers using autopilot are flying it. It's good I didn't tell you before. If I had told you this, you would never have stepped onto an aircraft. You don't. The most advanced and probably the ones that can detect anomalies in the fastest way. Unfortunately, we have had a crash, but the safest mode of transportation is flying. Now, with the A380 and 777, to be frank with you, since I know the technology, you don't need a pilot. You're better off without a pilot.
Wow.
As simple as that. So once it takes off and stabilizes over the Hudson, the pilot is just sitting there, sipping coffee or whatever he does. Hopefully not alcohol. Okay? Even the landing, it almost lands by itself, but the FAA still needs a pilot to have a control on the joystick, which is fine. So that's the state actually we are in. And it is coming very rapidly at a geometric progression rate to everything we encounter. The latest refrigerators, they have the capacity to tell you if you feed or give it access to your Apple Health Bot as to what type of food you should eat and things that you should not eat. Because the infrared and the ultraviolet scanners can actually look at the carbohydrates, the protein, and fat, saturated fat, unsaturated fat, and every type of that maniacal thing that we actually look at and tell you exactly. Because they are all reflectance of the spectroscopy, that's all. The same spectroscopy used in your labs. Again, this is nothing new for you guys. So that is where the intelligence is going. Again, remember, the large language model doesn't know it is intelligent. It is not aware. You are aware of it. What we do is not programming, but we basically set an environment, which means to say a doctor, if really they want to run a practice with no help, can have an AI bot run it for them and they just be at the helm of the whole thing. So 3 weeks ago, I'm on the advisory panel of Intuitive Robotics, as you know. They're the only ones who actually make robots for surgery, the famous Da Vinci robot. They tried probably the 61st or 62nd surgery without surgeon's intervention, where the surgeon was just standing there and it was able to excise a gallbladder very successfully in half the time, making 1/10 the incision using the instruments, especially the micro cameras, the micro cutters, and etc. So the patient, when they left, had a band-aid, that's all. And this was not anywhere, it was actually at one of the hospitals right here in South Shore. Completely equipped with AI, because there were 1 million gallbladder cases that was actually loaded into its large language model. So the surgeon who worked with this, he said, there is no way I can reach that type of a proficiency, because in my whole life, maybe I would have done 100,000. And this is not some fantasy or a Hollywood movie. This is there here today being used. So what you're going to see in terms of the video is, I've cut down the video to about 2 minutes, otherwise it gets very laborious and complicated. This is in the primary care, right? So the robot is able to do many things. I don't want to give out the surprise and the secret. Okay, I'll have you look at it and judge for yourself, and then I'll be available for some questions soon after the video. And I requested Dr. Bhavani to kick me out before 3 o'clock because 3:30 I'm supposed to teach a course in robotics for the US Navy. I do not want to, mess around with the admiral waiting for me. He has a gun in his holster. That's right.
Yeah.
Medical colleges should accept robots now instead of human beings.
Say it again.
Medical colleges should accept robots instead of
You don't need
humans.
All you have to do is program the robot. They don't need to go to med school.
Somebody else becoming a doctor?
I would say one thing, all you guys like us, we are getting out in right time.
I would have gotten a robot in our practice.
All you have to do is have a practice, but you have the robot do all these stuff work. You know? That's all.
But who gets the license for the boards?
Robot.
Assisted ambulatory services. Put your insurance card on my shelf with the front side up. Parachute your registration process is done, and we have all the information required. Now, let's head to the waiting area. Kindly find a seat. May I suggest connecting your mobile device to our guest Wi-Fi during your wait?
Yes, please.
Charan Jim Sedana, could you come towards me, please?
So just to display the visual recognition, so I'm standing
Please come with me. Index finger securely within the rubber cushions of the clip, and then press the button.
You can put mic close to the speaker.
Your answers are greatly appreciated. You can now proceed to remove the oximeter from your finger. Press start once you're positioned. Ensure you're calm and still during the process.
So the AI is understanding what his intention is and what he can actually mean by some of the things he's saying. So it's pretty intuitive. So show medical data. You can see all the chair juice medical
Presenting the
data.
medical information of Charan Jim Sedana.
Stop session.
To the EMR flow, come back if condition does not improve in a week.
So that's a summary for the doctor's notes. All of that is just ready for the doctor's review, and then they can just post that to the EMR. The functionality that we're not showing in this video is it has full telemedicine capabilities and it has translation, so it can handle it's over 70 languages that the robot can interact with patients and to actually be the translator. And every single thing that we saw today is completely customizable and can be put into the doctor's office as the doctor wants it to be.
And you can change the workflow as you want. You may say today we are going to be having 4 pulmonary patients, 2 cardiac patients coming back, and the names of the patients are this. It'll recognize immediately if it's a repeat patient, bring up the record and even tell you what you need to be ready with, and say, you know what, this patient has not had a 12 EKG for the past 6 months, you may want to do 1. Or it can take calls from the patient and say, you know, the patient called about 3 days ago, but I think he was hyperventilating. Because it can sense breathing, it can sense tone, and if there is video, it can actually see the gait, and it can even tell you, you know what, looks like he's got a 45-degree inclination and he's having a problem, and especially with the right foot, because the right foot is being dragged. Wow. This is something for the doctors that's a gold mine. Again, you do not program, you just expose it, and as it builds the patient records, as it is exposed even to the current patient records. And second thing is the simplest thing that it could do, which was the most complex for you guys, is to interface it to the EMR. It has direct APIs to Epic, to Cerner, to Allscripts, to eClinicalWorks, to Meditech, you name it. And the third thing is, when it discharges the patient, it says, here is a number, you can call me anytime. And here is where the kicker. For example, if Dr. Sharma is the doctor, when they call at 1 o'clock at night, they will hear Dr. Sharma talking to them because there is an avatar of Sharma there. Sharma is sleeping, that's the difference.
Very confusing.
So when you talk, it actually learns and it actually produces an avatar of you, not just the video and the audio, but your knowledge base, how you attack certain patients, what type of diagnosis you actually give, which is very difficult. And the reason is it's very mathematical, there's no magic here. Every time you make a diagnosis, it actually builds a regression model. It builds a mean, average, logistic regression and says, you know what, and mathematically, that's how the human brain works. So that's the, I shouldn't say future, that's the present. If you ask me what's the future, I have no idea. It is scary. I mean, if you look at self-driving cars, again, it's the same principle. And if you are visiting either, I think, San Francisco or Austin, please take one. I always take that one. When I go with my wife, she doesn't want to ride with me, so she takes a manned Uber, and I take one of these. It's really a pleasure, driving in it, looking at the technology, where it has come.
But Purnaji, who reaches first? You or who reaches first?
He.
You or your wife?
Which one? Who actually?
Reach first.
Reaches first.
Unfortunately, it was me. Because its capabilities to steer is very good.
Efficient payoff.
Very efficient. And
Also avoid traffic and everything.
Who has a question?
I think it's amazing.
I don't
Thank you very
use
much. It's
auto
tremendous. It will take a lot to digest all that. But it shows you the difference about going back about 45 years when I was, or 50 years when I was undergoing training in the United Kingdom. And here I'm sitting with a consultant, I'm the junior doctor being trained. And the consultant, Dr. Smith, says to the patient, Elizabeth, you saw me a year ago. You were wearing red hat at that time. What happened to that? She was so thrilled. Dr. Smith, you remember my red hat? Oh yeah, I kept it for 6 months. And then somebody borrowed it, I'll be getting back. So once the patient was gone, I said to Dr. Smith, amazing, your memory is fantastic. How do you remember all that? I mean, already you have to remember a lot of medical fact. And on the top of that, about Red Hat, he said, nobody, there's no trick in it. He said, look at the right-hand corner of the chart. He has written in his own handwriting, Red Hat. But amazing, the kind of things you are talking about, multi-dimensional retention is mind-boggling.
So we are opening the floor now. I want
One
to just,
question per person.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just wanted to thank Dr. Purna Prasad for giving us his time and his expertise and coming here this afternoon to talk to us. So we have one question per person, if you don't mind, okay? And it's 14:47. We have like 7 minutes.
7, 8
7.
minutes. I promise I'll come back once I'm not under the gun of Admiral. I really promise. Yes.
Also, so right now, all the robots are working under the direction of the doctor.
The doctor basically prescribes what it's doing, like you prescribe to your office assistant. Just follows it.
But during surgery,
Yeah.
if the doctor does not instruct properly,
Yeah.
I have heard cases where they went bad.
No, they've stopped.
Thank you.
For example, when you're hitting, say, an artery, right? You're trying to do exploratory surgery, you're going near the artery, to tell you because it can see the artery through infrared even before you see it on your camera. It basically, so what happens is there is what is called as a red indicator on the Da Vinci. It says, hey doc, you're 2 millimeters out of an artery, get back. Resize. Yeah.
That's better.
You know, like there are doctors make mistakes, right? You know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like we heard the famous case about what's the
That was the wrong word.
Shri Devi.
That was the wrong name.
I was thinking about Shri Devi, and her mother's head was with the wrong side of the
Yeah,
being
yeah,
operated.
yeah.
So
That was-
this thing will not happen under if her.
No, it won't. It won't because the new both CAT scanners and MRIs, they label it automatically. It is not going to, wait for your surgical nurse or your radiology nurse to no. That's automatically labeled because as you put it in supine, it knows where the left and right, and it's completely fail-proof because that was the requirement of Joint Commission, right? What Joint Commission did was this: they said machine labeling, no more human intervention.
Mine is very simple. Yes, I have a simple question.
been waiting.
I just want to know, so there's no margin of anything going wrong in the medical field? Anybody has some kind of a surgery done? So there's absolutely no mistake at all. Like a human being, there can be some error, like this example.
Yeah.
So with this thing, there's absolutely no chance of anything going wrong.
So you've heard the famous saying in a machine environment, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So if you have not trained your robots
Okay.
with the right data set, what you're going to get is garbage out. As I said, it has no awareness.
You have to just tell
It
them.
practically looks at the environment, the data set, the large language model, and executes according to your instructions. These are not computer instructions. You practically talk to it as you saw it.
I have a question to ask you in phlebotomy, like people who are on chemo, they are very small veins, right? And normally it is very tough for the phlebotomist to get it in. So has robots accelerated in this field?
Yeah, the one that they just released, I think, was about 8 months ago. You all know what a vein finder is, right? The highlighted laser. They have a robot attached to it now. So it basically makes the right puncture because it can sense much easily than a human eye or even a human haptic touch. Those haptic touches are about 1,000 times more sensitive. And thanks to the defense industry and NASA, they were actually responsible for the development of many of these sensors because of the space program.
Yes, anybody else?
The patient is not computer savvy and it gives wrong information to the computer and then everything.
The patient need not be computer savvy. You talk to it like you talk to an Alexa. For example, when you talk to Alexa or Siri, it's exactly AI. It is artificial intelligence on the other side. There is nobody else on the other side. So both Google's and Amazon's large language model is at play there. And ChatGPT, for example, much more advanced.
Yes.
Actually, Dr. Purna ji, can you bring a robot, a live robot to us at one point?
At some point, yes, I'll be happy to, since we have no place here, I'll actually bring it in.
I will arrange
Small room.
We can-
No, I will arrange
The
the
problem-
public hall and I will arrange that.
The best thing is to invite you all to our lab, which is right here at
That's
Kingston.
exactly what I was going to suggest.
Then you can really see its capacity, and you can have a conversation even at the deepest clinical level, and it'll practically floor you. You can actually challenge things both in biochemistry and microbiology of the blood work and patient, and you will see what its answers are.
So in the forum,
So,
right,
at some point, with Dr. Purnaji's permission, we will organize a field trip for H&W, and we'll sign up, and he will let us know when the robot is ready, able, and willing to talk to us.
Human beings.
No, it'll always be able and willing. It's just that I cannot take anybody else to the clinic because you all know because of the HIPAA and everything else. But in our company, that's no problem. It's a pretty open forum and we'll definitely work on it. Now you have to excuse me, it is 2:47. I need about 35-40 minutes. Yes.
Other than this medical field, like a lot of people are misusing this AI, and we people say their pen is all this hacking and all this.
Yeah.
How can we protect ourselves, What should we know about,
The most important thing is do not expose things that you would not expose it to anybody. Okay, that common sense, number one. The second thing is be aware that when you have a robot, it is listening at all times. Do you have a Siri at home or a Alexa?
Yes.
Sorry, it knows everything about you.
It knows everything inside the house.
It's listening to everything that you're saying.
No, have it, but be aware that it knows. Whenever you're talking in front of it knows everything.
Don't tell about your work.
No, like sometimes you get a fraud call.
Yeah.
So normally I don't pick it up, but
Yeah.
people say if by chance I pick it up,
Well, there is.
say hello.
They
They
basically
will take my voice.
they will play some pranks, but they are not at sea. Sophistication in AI and voice processing needs a lot of money. They don't have it. These scammers are all lowlifes, okay? I mean, they just want to see if they can get your account number, that's all. Apart from that, they can't do anything sophisticated. Yeah.
So we should not
I hope your robots you're making now, they are hack proof.
Yeah, they are HIPAA compliant. It is on 512, encryption. And in order to hack that, you need to run at least a $500 million company. I don't think people who run billion-dollar companies want to hack anything. So we are pretty productive because it doesn't store any patient information. The patient information is still on the secure cloud of that particular hospital system. So what the robot does, it's just a front end.
I just want to ask very small question. My question is, who has the best technology in AI? America, USA, right? And they can really use in the war, right?
It's already being used in the battlefield.
But I mean, you don't show that it's a sensitive,
Yeah.
right?
So most of the drone technologies you use, they're all AI based.
Okay.
So
The
most of the-
USA has the most technology and data,
Yes,
right?
So
Great.
Because
Purnaj is here.
Yeah.
Anyway, like even in the, I don't know, whatever the robots you have.
Yeah.
So now the access to NVIDIA chips is being denied, right, to many countries. So that way they're controlling the technology.
The thing is, they can get access to the NVIDIA chips, but the secret sauce is in the microcontrollers that nobody else has except for the US, because NVIDIA has a very secure contract with the Pentagon. So those chips will never be available, even for commercial purposes. What they give for commercial purposes is completely a different flavor.
Very good. Good
So
answer.
this
Huh.
robots
Yeah.
understand only English?
It understands 17 languages. When you come, what do you speak? You speak Hindi? Yeah, you can speak in Hindi. It'll reply in, it'll
She
actually.
knows Sanskrit also.
I have one question.
Yeah, Sanskrit mein banyami,
Yeah.
subhashta se banyami.
I met you in the county office one time.
Sure.
I know you
Yeah.
I have one
teach
question.
Sanskrit.
Yes.
A lot of mega companies are putting a lot of billions of dollars in AI.
Yeah.
Now, who do you think is going to win? Do you have some?
I don't think it's going to be one company, one consortium, because the competition is fierce among some of the best in the world, including the Grok by Elon Musk, and then you got Satya's Microsoft, and you got Sundar's Google, okay, and you got Zuckerberg. Some of these LLMs are mind-boggling. What they have developed because they have the money, the technology, the talent, the whole 9 yards. I mean, if you look at the latest version of Grok, which is from Elon Musk, it basically writes the programs as you are interacting. That's the level 2. It writes the programs by itself. So some of it is pretty mind-boggling. I get to see it because of I have a developed relationship with Grok. It's what's coming is something that none of us can even imagine. It is going to change the way we live. It's going to change the entire spectrum of our labor here. That grunt work and everything is gone. I would say in less than between 3 and 5 years, you will not be having any drivers in the car.
Yes, yes.
You basically just call the Uber comes.
So it will generate.
I have a quick question, Dr.
No, it will be re-employed. It's just like when computerized.
I have a question, Dr. Purnaji. Can you comment on China's AI because it's hot on our heels? So, any comments on that?
Do you want me a diplomatic answer or the truthful answer?
Truth. We want truth.
The truth will set you free, right?
You're all from Bharata.
Yes.
You know China is nothing but hot air. Don't worry about it.
Hot air.
There is no, in a communistic government, okay, the only reason they existed is because of the Western demand for manufacturing things that were designed here. So, they're going to yell and scream about it and they say, oh, China and everything. There is no way they can get anywhere with what they got. They can't even, deploy a product outside by themselves without using Western technology. Right? Yeah, designed in US, or designed in Germany, designed in UK, designed in Switzerland, designed in Finland, but manufactured in China. The good thing with China is they have, skilled labor because of the number of people. Cheap skilled labor. That's all they have. So, to be frank with you, I would enjoy all those, accolades that they give to themselves, but I won't be much worried.
Very good.
How the DeepSeek?
Huh?
DeepSeek.
That is Chinese.
DeepSeek is good for Hollywood and for writing novels. If you want to make money.
Okay, we want to have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Purnaji. Can we have a quick photograph?
पीछे वो लगा दो.
We're going to have a picture.
Yeah, a quick photograph with the group.
वो लगा दो पीछे.
Jyoti ji.